Welcome everyone to our Introduction to Human Anatomy and Physiology unit. So what is anatomy and physiology? Both of these terms come from the Greek. The word anatomy um, in Greek means to cut up, and early anatomists would do dissections on, at first animals, but then would look at the human body in order to learn about the structure of the body parts. So, anatomy is the study of the structure. So, what they look like, where they're located in the body, um, what cells and tissues make up those parts, are all part of the study of anatomy. Physiology means nature and how nature works. In this case, when we talk about physiology in the human body, we're talking about the nature of the body or the function of these body parts, what they do and how they do it. And you might have remembered from biology is that a common theme that comes up over and over again is structure determines function. And this is very true, both um, in biology and especially in anatomy. We're going to be coming back to this idea of structure and function all year round. So, for your first Edpuzzle question, I'd like you to think about what are some of the functions of our hands, our very uniquely human hands, and how does the structure of the hand allow it to do those functions? So, in your answer, you might have mentioned that some of the functions of our hands include things like grasping, making tools, holding things, having a strong grip on objects, and that some of the structures in our hand, like our fingers, our opposable thumbs, our fingernails, fingerprints, even the palm, allows us a, a lot of dexterity with our hands. And so we're able to do all sorts of things with our hands because our hands have this structure. So, in our activity today and when we meet in class next, we're going to do a few activities about the different characteristics of living things or the different functions of living things. And in our class, we are going to discuss all of these different functions and how the structures in our bodies allow us to achieve these different functions. The first is movement. This is a self-initiated change in position, which basically means like you get to choose whether to walk or put your hands up. And this also includes motion of internal parts. So your blood's pumping throughout your body and your digestive system is moving throughout the body. Responsiveness. This is your ability to sense changes and react to them. And a lot of this is achieved by your nervous system and also your endocrine system, all your hormones in your body. Growth. We increase in body size. And humans reproduce. Parents produce offspring, passing DNA to new individuals. Sexual reproduction is how we create whole new humans, and there's actually asexual reproduction going on within our bodies too. Our cells, like our skin cells, stomach cells, they need to reproduce asexually in order to replace any dead or damaged cells. Respiration, we need to take in oxygen. We breathe it in, and we use it to release energy from food through cellular respiration, and we get rid of waste, carbon dioxide waste. Next is digestion. This is when we chemically change and break down our food and then get rid of the wastes. After we digest our food, we have to absorb the nutrients and put them into our bloodstream. And this usually happens through our small intestine. Food particles get absorbed through the membranes in the small intestine and get put into our body fluids. Next, we have circulation. This is movement of substances throughout the body, like blood, for example, that's your circulatory system. So any food and oxygen that come through your respiratory and digestive systems, the oxygen and nutrients get put into the blood and then get moved around your body by the circulatory system. Next is assimilation. This is when we take in those absorbed substances and we convert them into chemically different substances. So, for example, if you eat a cheeseburger, the meat in that cheeseburger is cow proteins. What your body does is break it down through digestion into its small individual building blocks. You might remember from bio talking about the different monomers and polymers of all those big organic molecules. So we break them down into smaller parts and then we rebuild them into our own proteins. And that is the process of assimilation. We take the nutrients from our food and do some chemical reactions with it in order to make our molecules. And then finally, excretion, which is removal of waste. So in our body, there are chemical reactions taking place constantly. We have molecules being built through assimilation. We have molecules being broken down, like through digestion. All of the chemical changes that occur in your body to help maintain life is called metabolism. And all of these processes require energy. All of these chemical reactions require energy. So where do we obtain our energy? How do we obtain our energy? We obtain most of our energy through food, but we also need oxygen and water and heat and pressure in order to get that energy from the food. Think about how long you could possibly live without these. Probably not very long. Food, you can live a few weeks. Oxygen, minutes. Water, days. Heat, depending on the temperature, a few hours. And pressure. Pressure is probably not one that came to you right away, but how we breathe all has to do with air pressure. And we need to maintain pressure in our bloodstream in order to keep blood moving. So pressure is very important. The next really important concept that we are going to come back to over and over and over again this year is homeostasis. Homeostasis is the tendency of the body to maintain a stable, balanced internal environment or a sense of sameness. For example, your body temperature when you are healthy stays about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius. You're also maintaining water and salt balance in your body. And your body will make changes if something becomes unbalanced. So, for example, if you eat a salty bag of potato chips, a little while later, you're going to feel thirsty because your water and salt balance has been shifted and you need to bring that balance back to normal. And so you feel thirsty to make you drink water and to help return to that steady internal state. Maintaining homeostasis requires a lot of energy in order to keep the body in working order. The next time we meet in class, we'll be doing a few activities all about homeostasis.